Barbary, written by Dionysius Palmer. Mysterious ruins. Nestled in southern Zimbabwe is a striking complex of towering stone ruins. All that is left of one magnificent city called Great Zimbabwe. The ancient city mighty walls have intrigued Western scholars since Europeans began studying the glimpse into what life was like in the frozen African civilization in the 11th and 15th centuries. Many aspects of this history, such as why the prosperous city was abandoned, remain a mystery. A nation named the ruins of this ancient city are located in Zimbabwe, a landlocked country situated in the north of South Africa and the west of Mozambique in the southern of Africa. In its inland neighbors include Zambia and Botswana. The ruins of Great Zimbabwe are located in the southeastern part of Zimbabwe, or not far from the Lake Michigan and town of Masvingo. The word Zimbabwe is thought to originate from a phrase that means stone houses in Shona, one of the three primary languages of Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe is such an important source of pride in the areas within Zimbabwe gained its independence from Britain in 1980. The country took its name from the famous ancient city of Stone. The vast room of Great Zimbabwe stretched over nearly 728 hectares, 0.4 hectares of countryside, including three main sections: the hill complex, the Great Enclosure, and the valley zones. The hill complex and the Great Enclosure are composed of stone buildings as well as building a reddish mixture of clay and gravel called daga. The valley zones lie between the hill complex and the Great Enclosure and feature the remains of a large number of daga dwellings scattered throughout the valley. The hill complex, the oldest section of Great Zimbabwe, is located on a steep hillside in the northern area of the site, with a stunning view of the rest of the city and surrounding landscape. The hill complex runs are about 100 meters long by 45 meters wide, with massive stone walls up to 6 meters thick and 11 meters high. With miniature 6 upright posts topped with birds in one part of the hill complex lead upwards to thick. This section was the city's spiritual center and may have been used for religious rituals. Look at what's thought to have been the city center. The hill complex was also likely home to Great Zimbabwe's chief. In the southern area of the hill complex lies the Great Enclosure, the largest African structure south of the Sahara Desert. This oval ring of stone spans 250 meters in circumference, and like the hill complex, is as high as 11 meters tall in some places. Researchers estimate that the building used approximately 1 billion stone in its construction. A second wall runs into just inside part of the older wall for the Great Enclosure, for about 55 meters, forming a narrow passage. The passage leads to a conical tower whose purpose remains a mystery. The remains of daga houses can be found within the walls of the Great Enclosure, as well as the smaller walls that divide the area into compounds for different families. Scientific dating techniques indicate that the Great Enclosure was built in the 1300s at the height of the Great Zimbabwe's power. Archaeologists do not know why people have built the Great Enclosure, but it may also have been a royal palace. Building the Great City. Rumors of an African sub-Saharan city began circulating among Europeans in the 16th century as Portuguese explorers told of the stone walls and they encountered their travels. In the late 19th century, Europeans encountered Zimbabwe again and began to explore its history. In the late 19th century, European they doubted that the local African builders were capable of such a fine craftsmanship. Some Europeans thought the samples of wood found at the site of the north were convinced that Phoenicians, who lived near the eastern Mediterranean, first built the city. Over the years, several amateur researchers attempted to prove that theory. They ignored a host of evidence, including pottery, spearheads, and tools that indicate African origin, even damaging or destroying the parts of the sites in their quest to underneath a connection to another culture. Finally, in 1905, British archaeologist David Randall MacIver examined the site. Based on the artifacts that he found and the construction of Daga building on the site, Randall MacIver concluded that Africans built Great Zimbabwe. A few different African tribes claim that their ancestors were responsible for building the Great Zimbabwe. However, most scholars today think the Shona people were living in the area since prehistoric times. Built the city. The evidence that indicates the people's structure was about 1,000 years ago, and the city was under construction for over 300 years. The construction of the site is unique for many reasons. One of the site's distinctive features that is the walls were not built in straight lines, but rather in curves across the rolling terrain. In addition, sometimes the builder incorporated enormous boulders into the building plans. The hill complex offered a stunning example of his building technique. The buildings of Great Zimbabwe mainly use modern stone and can be cut into the brick-like shape. Stonemasons cut the stone from the large granite boulders that are common around Great Zimbabwe. To make the millions of stone bricks needed to build the walls of Great Zimbabwe, some miners use fire to heat the large stones to high temperature. Then they poured cold water on the red hot stones. The temperature change caused the stone to split along naturally straight lines. The builders stacked the stone on top of another to build the wall. Amazingly, they did not use any mortar to hold the stone together. This particular construction technique used to site is found only a few areas in Africa, and many people consider Great Zimbabwe to be the most impressive example. The workers made the base of each wall a little thicker than the top, so the wall slightly tapered and they stretched toward the sky. This strategy kept the towering three-story wall of black stone from toppling. The craftsmanship of Great Zimbabwe is quite expensive. Some of earlier walls are biscuits. Building technique improved as time went on. Some of the more constructed walls very smooth, similar to the modern brick wall. The purpose of this massive war is not completely understood because the war of Great Zimbabwe was not designed to support great. Evidence suggested that people of the Great Zimbabwe built the walls as part of the city defense. Other evidence suggests that purpose on the walls also preserves the privacy of the city's elite, or that they may serve as a symbol of royal authority. A thriving civilization. The Shona people have been living in the area around Great Zimbabwe since the Iron Age. Beginning in the 3rd century CE, the land was ideal for farming and raising livestock, and there were many underground deposits of valuable materials such as gold, iron, copper, and tin. And people mined these resources for both trade and crafting. Over time, the simple society of farmers and cattle herders developed more complex social arrangements. Evidence suggests that around 1000 CE, the Shona people began forming settlements with centralized states. This day corresponds to the time when the Shona were likely building the city of Great Zimbabwe. By the 14th century, Great Zimbabwe was a trading city at the heart of a powerful empire. At the height of the empire's power, the population of Great Zimbabwe, including surrounding valley, was likely over 10,000 people, with some estimates putting it as high as 20,000. The empire's elite class owned the resources and took leadership role. It was most likely this group that lived in the city's stone buildings, such as great enclosure, and the peasant probably lived in the more modest darker dwellings around the valley. Cattle, crops, and trade were the backbone of Great Zimbabwe's booming economy. The city was built along a bustling trade route that connected all the regions of Africa with ports along the Indian Ocean. The people of the Great Zimbabwe traded for this gold. They mined from the surrounding hills for goods from far-flung nations. Archaeologists have found medals in ornaments of West African craftsmanship, glass from the Middle East, even porcelain from China, among the ruins of Great Zimbabwe. These artifacts prove that the empire engaged in existing trade with other cultures. Works of art likely made by the local artists have also been discovered, showing that the people of Great Zimbabwe had their own artistic traditions. Great Zimbabwe was also likely a major religious center, since the archaeologists have discovered several stone altars among the ruins. The region of Great Zimbabwe was probably similar to the monotheistic religion still practiced by the modern Shona people. Despite the evidence of obvious health and the power in the city, it was largely abandoned by the middle of the 15th century. Scholars still do not know why. One prominent theory is that it's the land around the city that came over from grazing cattle and farming. If the land was depleted of nutrition necessary for crops, it would have been difficult to grow enough food to sustain such a large population. Another theory is that the people of Great Zimbabwe have moved in order to seek out for more lucrative trade deals as other geographical areas rose in economic power. Protecting Great Zimbabwe. The Great Zimbabwe is no longer a bustling metropolis it once was. It still plays a role in the modern Zimbabwe. Some modern Zimbabweans use the site for religious practice to this day. It is also one of Zimbabwe's tourist attractions. Tourist attraction interaction with the site has caused damage and drone needs protection if they are indoor to another millennium. In addition to environmental factors such as climate or taking a toll on the ruins. Finally, invasive plants pose a threat to the integrity of the remaining structure. Equal protection has existed for Great Zimbabwe since 1893, but for more government funding is urgently needed to fully preserve and study the site in recognition of the historical and cultural importance. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization designated Rhodes a World Heritage Site in 1986, which means that nearly all countries in the world recognize the site as a worth of admiration and preservation. Preserving the ruins is complicated. It involves studying in the factors contributing to Great Zimbabwe's decline, respecting the history of the structure and land, carefully consider the belief of region's people. Secrets in the Stone. Great Zimbabwe is a site of historical significance. It reveals a fascinating and important information about life global trade and thriving empire in medieval Southern Africa. However, while the ruins have given us captivating glimpses into the past, they continue to keep many secrets. For example, what was the purpose of the control tower within the great enclosure? And perhaps most intriguing of all, why was the great city, deserted after centuries of prosperity? With power, care, and study, perhaps the walls of Great Zimbabwe will reveal the answer to these mysteries.
Good job! Practice. Awesome. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're amazing.